guys, so I wanted to talk to you today about my favourite comic books. Now, I generally read my comic books as trade paperbacks in bind up volumes of usually 4, 5 or 6 issues, which we often refer to as graphic novels, but all of the comic books / graphic novels I'm going to talk to you about in this video originally came out in single issues, so I think can be best characterised as comic books. Now, I don't own a lot of comic books or trade paperbacks in physical form, but what I do have in physical form is Pretty Deadly. This is volume 1 and it's published by Image Comics. The first volume in this series actually came out quite a few years ago, and there's been a big gap until now when they have started to release new issues. So there will be a volume 2 coming out this year, I believe. I haven't been reading the individual issues because I think this is so beautiful that I really want to own the bind up trade paperback of volume 2 to go with my first volume, so I'm saving them to read until that comes out. But this is a very artistic graphic novel. You can see some of the images there. The art inside and on the cover is done by Emma Rios. The script for this story, however, is done by Kelly Sue DeConnick. The story itself is quite confusing. There's a lot going on and a lot of gaps, so you definitely have to be a lover of kind of mystery and the unknown and kind of intricate plot lines and pretty art to enjoy this one, because those are definitely the staples of it. It is a fantastical western story set in the Wild West, but with lots of magic and rituals and exploration of death. But next up is the only other one I have in physical form to show you, and that is Fables. You've probably heard about this one. This is a very long ongoing series with multiple offshoot series as well. This is the first volume, Legends in Exile, and it's been created by Bill Willingham, Lan Medina, Steve Lealoa and Craig Hamilton, and it's published by Vertigo, which is owned by DC. The characters in the series will not be unfamiliar to most of you, however, as they are fairy tale characters. This series is set partially in our world, partially in the fairy tale world, and follows the fairy tale characters' existence after they have had to flee from the fairy tale world because of a civil war. I've seen comparisons to the TV show Once Upon a Time. I think one of the significant differences about this is that the characters know they're in our world, they know they're fairy tale characters, they've all been alive for hundreds of years because aging works differently for fairy tale characters, and so their priorities are very different, and they've established a whole community and kind of underground society, although not underground in our world. But moving swiftly on, the next one I want to mention to you is actually a series I am entirely caught up on and has in fact finished, and that is Lock and Key. Lock and Key is published by IDW, it's written by Joe Hill and illustrated by Gabriel Rodriguez. This is a bit of a horror thriller mystery series. It follows the Locke family after their father dies and they go to live in their old family home with their uncle and mother, only to begin uncovering these magical keys. There's a dark history behind these keys that threatens the Locke family, as well as threats in their contemporary world as well. It's a very intriguing mystery and it's a very gruesome story. Next will come to no surprise to any of you. It's certainly very popular at the moment and is still ongoing, and that is Saga. Saga is another comic book series from Image Comics and is written by Brian K. Vaughan and illustrated by Fiona Staples. This is a space opera which has been compared to Game of Thrones set in space, which I kind of get. There is sex, there is violence, and there are multiple narratives, so in that respect, sure. I'm currently as up to date as you can be, I believe, with Saga, because I have been reading it as individual issues on Comixology. I know some people who've been reading it have been getting less impressed as it's gone on. I'm still really enjoying it, and the series hasn't really deteriorated for me. I'm still really intrigued by the characters and what's going to happen to them. It has its peaks and troughs in action, but I don't mind that. I quite like the more chill sections as much as I enjoy the action sections. It's narrated by a child narrator whose parents come from 2 different alien races who are currently at war with one another. Their governments don't want anybody to know, however, that their 2 people can get on, can fall in love, and can have children, so this family is currently on the run from pretty much everybody who threatens them and their child. Next up is Rat Queens, which was created by Curtis J. Weeb and is published by Image Comics again. This series currently has 3 volumes out, the 3rd volume having come out quite recently, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet, so I've only read the first 2. I love the characters and the plot lines of this series. It's about a group of kind of vigilante, thugs for hire, female magical creatures who simultaneously people need the help of but also hate because they're very violent and disrupt the peace. They are absolutely fabulous though. They have so much character, they're so interesting, they're such an eclectic bunch, and they're really fun to read about, and this series definitely has a bit of a comical twist to it. It's also somewhat reminiscent of things like Dungeons and Dragons, and it's just all round fabulous in my opinion. I am really enjoying it and I'm really looking forward to reading the 3rd volume very soon, hopefully. The next one I want to mention, I'm pretty sure originally came out in issues. I haven't read this for years, but I read it multiple times when I was a lot younger. It was something my library had and I used to just, you know, take out regularly to reread because I really enjoyed it, and that was The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This was written by Alan Moore and illustrated by Kevin O'Neill, and you may recognise it because there was a film made out of it, but it basically follows lots of famous literary characters. Mr. Hyde from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Dorian Gray, Tom Sawyer, etc, etc, as they come together in the 19th century to defeat evil as a team. It's a fantastic concept. I really enjoyed reading it when I was younger, and I'd really like to reread it now that I'm a bit older. And this series was first published under DC. Last but certainly not least, however, is a comic book series I most recently started, and that is I Hate Fairyland. This series only has 1 volume so far. I don't even think there's been any single issues released since the last volume wrapped up, so I think I'm completely up to date with this one as well. But this is another result of Image Comics publication and was created by Scotty Young. This series follows a young girl who wishes to visit Fairyland, and her wish is granted, but as soon as she gets there, she changes her mind. In fact, she wants to be at home with her family. However, children are not allowed to leave Fairyland until they have completed a quest. The quest usually wraps up in quite a speedy amount of time, however, and the child returns home having had a good old time in Fairyland and probably in time for dinner. Our protagonist, however, does not seem to have the same questing abilities as others in the past have, and has ended up spending decades stuck in Fairyland unable to complete this quest. Her mind has grown up, but her body has never progressed past that of a child. She's also gone slightly bonkers down in Fairyland trying to complete this quest. And the story itself is full of bright colours, gaudy, cutesy drawings, fairies, unicorns, broken noses, fighting, murder, and all of that good stuff that just obviously would work together perfectly, and it does. It is perfection. I'm so excited for the next series of issues to come out, and I highly recommend you check that one out. Those are all the comic books I wanted to talk to you about in this video, however. Do let me know what your favourite comic books are, in particular if there's any that strike you as similar to the ones I've mentioned in this video. I really want to hear about them, and I'd also love to know your thoughts on any of the comic books I mentioned in this video. Until next time guys, happy reading, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye! One of my favourite formats of books is the non-fiction graphic novel, and that's what I want to talk to you about in this video.